Good day, students. Today, the poem we are going to do is Death Be Not Proud by John Donne. Yesterday, we did Go and Catch a Falling Star by the same poet, and today, we are going to do this poem Death Be Not Proud. So, first of all, I would like to ask you to do a little bit of brainstorming. What thoughts come in your mind when you think of death? These 5 letters DEATH, what thoughts do they arouse, do this word arouse in your mind? Naturally, you will say that death is fearful, death is dreadful, we all fear death. Nobody loves death. I'm sure nobody loves that. Even I don't. But this poem is a little bit different from this set thinking that death is fearful and it is frightful and it is very, very mighty and powerful. Actually, in this poem, the poet has taken a totally different point of view. He is scolding death. Have you ever heard any poet scolding death? No. Generally, what poets do that they respect death and they talk in very high terms because we all fear death. So this is a sonnet, and as you all know, that sonnet is a short poem of 14 lines. So shall we start with the poem? Death be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. Now let us first understand these 4 lines. First of all, he says, Death be not proud. Now this is the title also of this poem. Now he says, or he asks death not to feel proud. Now I would like to tell why death is proud of itself. Death is proud that death feels proud of its power, its glory, its dreadfulness. Though some have called thee, the word some here means some poets, because poets have called death with certain names, mighty and dreadful. Now what do you mean by this word mighty? Mighty means powerful. Dreadful means something we are afraid of. For thou art not so. Now for here is a word which is used instead of because. For means because. Because you are not so. So please don't feel proud of yourself, because you are neither mighty, means you are neither powerful nor dreadful. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow. Now the reason that death should not feel proud of itself is that death thinks that I overthrow many people. Overthrow here is an image of a king, a would-be king overthrowing a present king. So here is the diction of coronation. Die not, poor death, nor yet can thou kill me. So he says that you should not feel proud of yourself, because neither you are mighty nor you are powerful. Plus, those people about whom you think that you have killed them, actually they do not die, and even you can't kill me. Now there is a great question mark in our minds, or rather this question should arise in our minds, that why the poet is saying so. I would read the next 4 lines. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of the bones and soul's delivery. Now it is a very beautiful expression by the poet. He says that from rest and sleep, he has compared death with 2 things, rest and sleep. Why? Because a person who is resting, who is taking rest, there is no difference between a dead person and a person who is taking rest. The only difference is the inhaling and exhaling of the breath. In the same way, a person who is sleeping, we can compare him to a dead person. So he says, rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Rest is not death. Sleep is not death. They are the pictures of death. And much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. We all know that rest and sleep gives us pleasure. We awake fresh Whenever we wake up in the morning, we awake fresh, filled with fresh energy to do our daily household works and our occupational works also. And whenever we take a rest, at what point of time we wake up fresh. So this is sure that we get a lot of pleasure, we get a lot of rejuvenation, lot of energy after rest and sleep. Rest and sleep are not death, but still they are giving us so much pleasure. So imagine how much pleasure death will give us. So this is the first reason he gives why we should not be afraid of death, and why death should not feel proud of itself. So he says that if rest and sleep can give us rejuvenation, it can give us energy, fresh energy, then how much energy would we get from death? So there is no need to fear death. Soonest our best men with thee to go. Now death can feel proud that very soon our best men, who are the best men? For example, the best man in the field of science is Einstein. The best woman in the field of beauty is Aishwarya Rai or any other lady. The best cricketer is Sachin Tendulkar. The best social worker you may call Mother Teresa. But all these people, though they are best in their fields, they will go with death. And death is proud of herself that I take away your best men. Nobody is immortal. Okay? So he says, soonest our best men with thee to go. Thee means you. Our best men go with death. Nobody lives forever. But he says, still there is no loss. Why? Rest of their bones and souls delivery. They get two advantages. These people, these best people of belonging to each and every field, death cannot cause any harm to them. On the contrary, after death they get two advantages. Now what are the two advantages? The two advantages are, number one, rest of their bones. These people, they were very, very busy during their lifetime. For example, the examples I have given you. Mother Teresa was very, very busy serving people. Swami Vivekananda was very busy preaching good things to people. Sachin Tendulkar is very busy. Each and every best man or woman is very busy during their lifetime. So whenever they die, their bones get rest. Because they were such good people that they did not think of taking rest for themselves. They did for the society. Whatever they did for the society. And so after their death, what happens? There is no loss to them because their bones are getting rest. Their bones were tired doing a lot of work during their lifetime. So is there any loss after the death? No, definitely not. So they will get a lot of rest and soul's delivery. Now, what are human beings made up of? You should think human beings are made up of body and soul. So body is getting rest and soul's delivery. Soul's delivery means soul is delivered. It is freed from the clutches of body. In our Hindu religion, we believe that the body is a cloth and the body is the cloth of the soul. So body is covering the soul. And what happens after the death? The soul is released from the clutches. Clutches means from the grip, from the hold of the body. So he says, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. On both levels. On the physical level also, there is advantage after death that their bones, their body is getting rest and soul is delivered from the hold of body. So why should death feel proud of itself? Because whoever is dying is not in any loss. He is in advantage. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Now, this line is very, very interesting. Generally, if you remember the second line, he says, mighty and dreadful. People say that death is mighty and death is dreadful. Mighty means powerful, death is very, very powerful, and death is dreadful. Dreadful means we are afraid of death. So, who is mighty and dreadful? Either kings, powerful kings are very, very mighty and powerful, or political leaders are very, very mighty and powerful. But these people are the rulers. King is a ruler, political leaders are the rulers, and death also thinks that it is the ruler of the world. But he says, thou art. Thou art means, it is Old English. Thou means you, art means are. You are slave. Now please think over this word slave. Death is not a king, death is not powerful, but it is a slave. What is a slave? Das. With no privileges, with no rights, with no comfort, with no hold over other people. So he says, death, you are neither mighty nor dreadful, you are a slave. And what does slave do? Slave comes at the calling of others. Whenever a king claps, the slave appears. The attendant appears. So he says, you are not a king, but you are a slave. Now it is a very, very derogatory term, very low level word used for death, because generally what are the words associated with death? The words are mighty, and the another word is dreadful, powerful. But he says that you are slave to four things: fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Now we will understand these words one by one. You are slave to fate. Fate means kismat. Okay? Destiny. So you are slave to fate. How is death slave to fate? A person dies whenever destiny calls him, whenever he is destined to die. Okay? Sometimes we think that a person was very, very healthy and he died suddenly. Why did he die? Because it was destined, because it was written in his destiny that he should die. So number one thing is fate, then chance. These are the manners in which people die. First of all, they die out of fate or destiny. Secondly, chance, by chance. By chance means accidents. Okay? This corona, what is going on in this world, it is also a matter of chance that this virus has crept in the human society, and it is killing people. And by chance you may catch, or anybody may catch this infection, and a person may die. Accidental deaths come under this heading. Then kings. How are kings responsible for death? Kings are also responsible for death. Now, king does not only mean the person, the actual king, but kings are our political leaders also. How do they become responsible for our death? For example, kings give orders for a war, and so many soldiers die. So many common innocent people also die. So kings also become responsible for our death. Plus, death sentence. Death sentence is given by kings. The order for war is given by kings. So kings means powerful people. Now normally we don't have kings and queens, but who are the kings and queens? The people with power in their hands. They can give one order and so many people may die. Then desperate men. Desperate men. Recently Sushant Singh Rajput, he committed suicide, and it is said, though the reasons of his death are not clear, but it is said that he was depressed. So desperate men, they embrace death, means they commit suicide. So the four reasons for death are fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Desperate men means people who are unhappy with their life. People who commit suicide. They are desperate to embrace death. So these are the four reasons. I hope you understood this. And dust with poison, war, and sickness dwell. Dwell means live. And what are the things you are living with? You are living with very, very negative things. And what are those negative things? You live with poison. We associate poison with death. You live with war. The another name for war is death. Death means death of soldiers, death of innocent people, death of many people, unexpected death. Sickness. Sickness means some disease, some physical ailment, some problem in the body. So, death lives with either poison or war or sickness. Now, poison here not only means the physical poison, the actual poison, the poison of tension, the poison of desperation, the poison of depression. Depression also acts as a poison for your life. For example, if you think too much, it is said in Hindi that चिंता चिता के बराबर है. चिंता चिता के बराबर है. It means चिता means the fire where a dead body is burned. It burns the dead body, but चिंता or worry, it burns the living person. It kills a person from within. Poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. Now he says that death says that I can make you sleep. But he says poppy and charms. Poppy means of intoxicating flower. It can also make us sleep. Intoxications can also make us sleep. And charms. Charms means hypnotism, mantras. They can also make us sleep as well, like death. So don't feel proud about yourself that it is your monopoly. And better than thy stroke. Better than thy stroke means attack. We can sleep with poppy and charms also, but the stroke, the attack of poppy and charms is better. Why? Because we wake up again. So there is no need for death to feel proud of itself. Why swellest thou then? Swellest means why are you feeling proud of yourself? Why are you swelling from inside? Why are you having this feeling that I am all powerful, almighty, and I am dreadful? The last two lines are very, very interesting, where he really turns the table on death. He says, one short sleep past, we wake eternally. Now here is a metaphor where death is compared to a short sleep. So he says, one short sleep past, we wake eternally. Death is like one short sleep. And after sleep, what happens? When we wake up very, very fresh, rejuvenated, filled with energy. So, one short sleep past, we wake eternally. Eternally means not to die forever. When we die, our soul wakes up eternally. And death shall be no more, death thou shalt die. This last line is very, very interesting, where he says, death shall be no more. Now at this point of time when our body dies, death shall be no more, because death can cause harm to the body. Death cannot cause harm to the soul. So our soul will live forever and death will die. So whenever our soul leaves the clutches of body, it enters into the realm of eternity. It enters into the boundaries of eternity where there is no name of death, because soul is eternal. Soul can never die. Death, thou shalt die. The last four words turns the table that death dies. So I hope you understood this poem, and some of the literary beauties of this poem is that death is being compared with a king initially, who is mighty and powerful, and death is being compared with a slave. So here is the point of contrast. Each poem which contains contrast within itself is a very powerful poem, because in line number 2 we saw that he is saying that death is mighty and powerful, but he turns the table on death, that he says, no, you are not mighty nor powerful, but you are a slave. What is a slave? As I told you, slave is neither mighty nor powerful. It comes at the calling of other people, it comes at the calling of fate, it comes at the calling of chance, fate, and desperate men. Now, the things with which death is dwelling means living. They are very negative sort of things. Poison, war, and sickness. Death is associated with poison, death is associated with war, because whenever there is a war, we are for sure that people will die. Yesterday only we saw that certain soldiers from China, they were dead, and certain soldiers from India, they were dead. So what was the reason? War. So war is associated with death. And sickness. Sickness means a person suffering from some disease, physical ailment. So death is associated when that sickness does not heal or gets better. Finally, a person dies. So, and in the last 2 lines, there is a biblical allusion. Now, what is a biblical allusion? Allusion means reference. There is a reference from the Bible that one short sleep past, we wake eternally. And not only Bible, even in our Hindu scripts, religious scripts, it is written that after death our soul is liberated from the clutches of the body and we wake eternally. Now at that point of time, death, it is time for death to die, and finally we wake up. So this is a metaphysical poem, including a lot of conceits, including a lot of unconventional theme. The theme, unconventional theme. Why it is unconventional? Because generally, what is the convention? The tradition is to pay respect to death, is to feel afraid of death, okay, and write a lot of such poems which will appease death. But here the poet is scolding death. He is literally scolding death, and he is humiliating death, that there is no need for you to feel proud of yourself. These are the reasons I have given that why you should not feel proud of yourself. So I hope you understood this poem, and we will soon meet in the next session. Thank you.